So I have a topic today,
Okay.
which is a great topic. That's all right, announcement stuff. And it's kind of about extended universe within Christianity, which if you treat Christianity like a fiction, there's a lot of the core beliefs and the things that are definitely canon and included in the Bible that people take for granted as real. But there's all this auxiliary stuff, you know, like, do you believe in miracles? Do you believe in angels? Things that are happening outside of the Bible.
Hell is actually mostly non-canonical since it was brought in by the Inferno guy, Dante.
Dante, yeah. So
and also Milton, Paradise Lost, had a lot of afterlife stuff.
Exactly. So you know, a lot of the beliefs, are they canon? Are they believed? Why are they not canon? Why would you not believe them? And I think a lot of the calls that come into this show are technically part of that extended universe, because people will call in and say, hey, I experienced a miracle. This is evidence for God. And, you know, do you believe that? Do you not?
So they're like atheists writing fan fiction in some sense.
In a way. And so I wanted to go...
Christians.
Yes, Christians.
Sorry.
So I wanted to go with some very specific fan fiction, if you will, which is Irish folk tales. And the fact that they're called folk tales indicates that most Christians do not consider them canon, despite the fact that they clearly reference God and angels and all of these things. So I wanted to go through some of the stories.
So they're called folk tales because they were just written by folk?
They were written by folk.
Yeah.
But, I mean, technically, these are supposed to be true stories of stories that people believed and thought that God was intervening and making these things happen. Just like you would hear today, God helped me find my keys. This is God helps St. Patrick by giving him a magic herb, and the herb now grows on a farm of Protestants, but those people on the farm, they all died off, so they can't tell you where the herb is anymore. But this totally happened. And they will give real details, like this happened to St. Patrick, it happened in a specific town, and they'll give details like St. Patrick had a retainer of people. You might not have known that, but it did. So it has these historically verifiable links. But is this something that really happened? Did St. Patrick really get knocked off his horse and break his back, but then his back was fixed by an herb? I don't know. I don't think so, but
I don't know.
Why would you?
I mean,
if you're a Christian, why do you not believe that this happened?
Sure, it's kind of a tall tale, but then so is Jesus driving a bunch of spirits into pigs and running them over a cliff. Yeah. And that's canon.
That's exactly canon, but I wanted to go through some of the extended universe stories. So I made them short because the Irish are not necessarily great storytellers. But I wanted to give some of the stories. So this is the more complicated. This is one of the more complicated stories. But so this man falls in love with a woman, and he wants to marry her, but she says that he has to go through a whole bunch of hoops and trials before she will agree to marry, or before her father will let it happen. So in the end, the man gets a short green man who helps him out, a hat that turns him invisible, slippers that will take you anywhere you want to go, a sword that can break rocks, and he gets some friends, an amazing gunsmith who can shoot at anything, a man with fantastic hearing that can look down, that can put his ear down to the ground and hear anything that's going on with it. A man who can control the wind by blowing it out through his nose. And at the end, it is revealed that all of these people and things help him because they were sent by God. They were angels. And so there's an angel out there who can blow gusts of wind out his nose, but only if he closes one nostril to do it out. And so they end up married and happy, and it works out fantastically. So is this a real thing? Are there really angels that helped this guy marry this woman who didn't want to marry him, because she put him through a lot of hoops. And if it's not a real thing, then why is that? Why is this a story that Christians don't believe in, despite the fact that it's written down, people believed it, and they tied it to God, and they thought it was a real God thing?
Do you think there are some people who believe that today? I mean... Who
would believe this story?
Yeah.
Maybe. But it's not something that I've heard.
It's not terribly mainstream.
It's not mainstream. It's very extended universe. It's like the rabbit friend of Han Solo. Nobody really likes or believes that.
Or Chewbacca's son Stinky, is it? Or no,
that's his father.
Okay. Lumpy. Lumpy's the father.
Lumpy's the father. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm terrible.
Stinky is like a hut in.
Oh, it's the baby hut.
Yeah. No,
this is terrible that we know these things.
But it's like that is the point.
It is a lot like that.
And this is all from the Christmas special, so.
Well, part of it.
Yeah. The other one's from Clone Wars. Okay, anyway.
Nerd. Okay, so here's another one. The giant serpent. So there was a serpent that was as big as one of the hills around, and it appeared out of nowhere. Saint Finner came, walked around a lake 3 times, sprinkled holy water. The serpent ran away down the river, and it became the River Lee. And he stopped for a little while, and it became Loch Lu. And then the serpent went into the sea and disappeared forever. And this is a story of, this saint banishing this serpent from the earth, from Ireland, and getting rid of it. And is this a thing that really happened? Was this like a dragon or a dinosaur that stuck around? And why would a Christian not believe this? The whole town said that they saw it, and they built a monastery at the location to commemorate this event that happened.
Wait, does that monastery really exist, or does the story just say that they built a monastery there?
The story says they built a monastery.
Okay.
There's probably a monastery.
Could you go find that monastery, I wonder? And shouldn't
this happened at Cork, so if there's a Cork monastery, then yes.
Shouldn't this giant dragon be featured in like animatronics at Ken Ham's Creationist Museum? I mean, why should he just limit himself to the Bible canonical stories?
Yes, I mean, if there are behemoths and leviathans,
right,
then this is a thing that could have existed. And why do Christians not believe that this is a true story?
And unicorns. They argue seriously about unicorns.
Yes. So I don't think I've ever heard Ken Ham try to defend the serpent that was banished by Saint Finbar. Apologies if I'm butchering that saint's name. All right, so I've got 2 more stories, and this one's kind of boring, but there was a priest who was going along his horse, and he met a whole bunch of wee folk, aka fairies, and the fairies asked him, "Hey, do we get to go to heaven?" And he said, "Well, if you've got a drop of blood of Adam in you, then you do have a chance to get in heaven." And the fairies all cried because they don't have drops of blood of Adam.
Mark, we've got the message now, right?
Yes, thank you. So fairies don't get to go to heaven, is what is canonical in Irish folktales. So there are fairies and they are real. And this priest saw them along the road. And is that a true thing? Christians, do you have to believe in fairies now? Because this priest says he saw the fairies. And they were curious about getting into heaven.
Just as credible.
Did he make that up? Why would he make that up?
Just as credible as Paul seeing Jesus on the road to Damascus.
Yes. And scales falling from his eyes.
Right.
And apparently fairies don't get into heaven. They don't really explain why, except having the blood of Adam is important.
Yeah,
but they don't exactly say why. So these are not all the greatest stories, but they're some of the best. I apologize to Irish people. So this last one I like.
Do you want to make the standard disclaimer that you can do this because you're part Irish?
I am part Irish, so I can insult my own heritage, just like Jews. just like Russell does with Jews.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes. So this is the story of Billy Duffy. He got 3 wishes from a passing saint, but he was selfish, and he made selfish wishes, and so the saint cursed him. He wished for an armchair that whoever sat in it couldn't get up unless Billy let him out, a sledgehammer that whoever picks it up couldn't put it back down, and a coin purse that only he could take his coins out of. So he exploited these gifts to steal from people, basically, because he said, hey, sit down in my armchair, and then he wouldn't let him up until they gave him all his gold.
Here, want to see a magic trick? Put some coins in this purse.
Yeah, exactly. So he exploited this, and then and after a while, everybody hated him, and he didn't have any money anymore because people got wise to him. But then he tried to make a pact with the devil, and he tricked the devil because he said, hey, devil, sit down in my armchair. And then he didn't let the devil up for like a few years, and the devil said, finally, all right, I'll give you money. And then he did that 3 times with the devil. And
wait, 3 times? 3 times.
Well, not the armchair. The second time, he said, hey, devil, will you hand me that hammer? And the devil handed him the hammer. And it's the biggest stretch is with the coin purse, which is where he says, hey, why don't you turn yourself into money and get into my coin purse? Which the devil falls for, because the Irish devil is not very intelligent. So he tricks the devil, and then when he dies, you would think, well, that guy was a total jerk, he's going to go to hell. But then when he gets to hell, the devil says, no, you are not allowed in here. I remember you. Get out of here. Go up to heaven.
That'll show him.
So that guy Billy Duffy had that happen. But here's the thing that I like about this story is that right after it there is a second story about Willie, and he has the same thing happen to him. But instead of initially getting the 3 wishes from a saint, he gets it from the devil himself, which makes it a little more ridiculous that the devil falls for it. But here are 2 different stories that are telling the same story, two different sources. So this is collaboration, like what happens in the Bible. And there are some details that are different, like it's Willie versus Billy. But, it's like looking at a car accident. Sometimes the details are a little off, but they add together into a story that is true and actually happened. And so this is supposed to be a canonical story of what happened with this guy and the devil. And it's got, collaborating stories, just like the Bible has. So is this a story that Christians believe in? And if they don't, then why not? Because it has to do with real people and real characters. And it's got it's just as much evidence as the Bible does.
Would you say the stories are internally consistent with each other? Because that's something you hear Christians harp on about the Bible a lot.
About them being internally consistent?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it is as internally consistent as the Bible.
and
if
I
not more
suppose
so,
consistent with the Bible also.
Well, I mean, there's no mention in the Bible about whether fairies get into heaven or not. Jesus doesn't mention it. So I guess that lines up with canon. It does not break.
Yeah, so the Bible
anything that the Bible's saying.
Say that saints grant wishes, but it doesn't say they can't.
Right.
I guess.
No.
All right. Well, food for thought, guys.
So if the Bible is true and real, then, are these extended universe stories also true and real? And if they're not, then why not? And if you believe in current miracles and current, angels and heavenly interference, then are these heavenly interferences also things that actually happened? So that's my topic.
Okay. Thanks.